Good morning. Great morning. Wonderful morning. Spectacular morning. I know, huh? The introduction without music, that was weird, wasn't it? Good morning. Great morning. Wonderful morning. Spectacular morning. And now you hear the echo. Isn't that fantastic? My gosh, it's so incredible when there's a disruption for things and how it shifts things inside. But you know what's interesting? That no matter what happens, as you go through whatever it is you're going through, guess what you get to decide? You get to decide what things mean. Remember, everything is fundamentally meaningless. Everything just is. And it's you, me, all of us that have been given this magnificent gift to give meaning to things. Now, let's think about that. When we have a belief about something, and remember, a belief is something that we have consented to and accepted, that belief shifts you onto a frequency, a vibration. Now that's important. Why? Because it's that belief which that leads you to that frequency that determines what you're attracted to and what's attracted to you. It also determines what you're repelled by and what's repelled by you. Now, this is important because when you think about that, you'll see that everything is about changing your belief. And when I'm talking about everything, I'm talking about changing your life. You want to change your outcomes. You want to make this a material fact in your life. Guess what? You've got to believe. Now, this poses a really big question because it ties to everything that we've been diving into as we've been studying, for instance, the Master Key System by Charles Haanel. And by the way, if you'd like Gold Card or this book, Master Key System by Charles Haanel, or even the Subconscious Code. This again poses a really important question, though. If you want those, you just click on the link, and then you can go ahead and purchase those from that link. But with that being said, it poses a big question. When you believe something, what kind of power does it have? Now, here are some questions for you to think about when you're thinking about making change. And one of those things that I've been contemplating and thinking about is, you know, the belief that maybe I'm stopping myself, or maybe I'm in the way, or maybe that I'm my own worst enemy. Now think about that. Those are beliefs. Do you believe that? Do you believe that you're the only one that's stopping you? Do you believe that you're your own worst enemy? Do you believe that you're self-sabotaging? See, now think about that. That's a belief. And if you believe that, what is the feeling that you get when things happen again and again and again? Isn't it interesting how, because of that belief, there's a heavy weight on your shoulder? You know what I'm talking about. Now, this is important because we're talking about shifting the outcomes of your life. You want to change how those outcomes are appearing in your life. You got to change what's in your mind, how you're feeling. Now, my question with regards to those things is, well, what if it wasn't true that you were your own worst enemy? What if it wasn't true that you were stopping you? What if it wasn't true that you were sabotaging yourself? Now, that's a really big question. And the answer to that question will open up your mind to incredible possibilities. So, anyways, why am I going over this? Well, because before we dive into this magnificent call, there is an event that's happening on the 22nd that will shatter every single one of those beliefs and free you from the tyranny of those beliefs. So, with that being said, I recommend that you do register for that event, and we'll provide the link for you to register for that. And I'm telling you, it's going to shatter the illusion that you are stopping you, that you are in the way, that you are your own worst enemy, and that you're self-sabotaging because all of that is a bunch of BS. It's not true. So make sure that you register for it. You'll see the link here in the chat, and you'll also see it in WhatsApp, and then also share it with a friend. All right, so let's dive into this. Okay, you should have your goal card. You have this incredible book, The Master Key System. So let's dive into where we left off from yesterday. All right, here we go. Boom. Ta-da. Section 23 on page 122. It is, however, through attention. Remember, we've been talking about the will. That's your ability to focus. You have six higher mental faculties: imagination, perception, reason, will, memory, and intuition. And it is, however, through attention that you will finally be able to overcome obstacles of any kind that appear in your path onward and upward. And the only way to acquire this wonderful power is by, what is it? Application, baby. By practice. Practice makes perfect. It is as in anything else. Now, remember, the modification that I instructed you to write about practice ties into understanding that perfect practice makes perfect. But that the true statement with regards to that, because in terms of us delivering, an image that's inside, because we have this humanity that's in us, which is the human way of thinking, the most important thing for you to understand that the true statement is that practice makes permanent, I should say. Practice makes permanent. In other words, it sets into your subconscious mind a habit, and a habit is a repeated thought, which then leads it to being automatic. So practice makes permanent. Now, in order to cultivate the power of attention, bring a photograph with you to the same seat in the same room, in the same position here for too. Get a picture of some kind. Examine it closely for at least 10 minutes. Now, this is a really great exercise. Note the expression of the eyes, the form of the features, the clothing, and the way the hair is arranged. In fact, note every detail shown on the photograph carefully. Now remember, this is an engagement with an idea that he's presenting to you to emphasize the power of focus. So after you do that, now cover it and close your eyes to see it mentally. If you can see every detail perfectly, then you can form a good mental image in the photograph, of the photograph. You are to be congratulated. If not, repeat the process until you can. See, this is why we share with you the importance of acting as if. Now, here in this example, he says, okay, again, if you can't see it in your mind when your eyes are closed, okay, then go back to look at it visually until you can see it when your eyes are closed. Now, what does he say this is? This step is simply for the purpose of preparing the soil. Now, what's the soil that he's talking about? He's talking about your subconscious mind. Now, with that being said, your subconscious mind is already intact. But what he's saying is that you're preparing and you're beginning to sow, you're beginning that part of cultivation. Now, it's important to emphasize and remind you that your subconscious mind is very fertile. It will grow just as abundantly good ideas as it will bad ones, positive as it will negative ones. And here he says in part seven, we shall be ready to sow the seed. This reminds me of a song by Tears for Fears. Sowing in the seeds of love. It's a great song. 26. It is by such exercises as these that you will finally be able to control your mental moods, your attitude, your consciousness. It's through these types of exercise that you'll be able to control the feelings that are present. Remember, when you're a master of the feelings that are on the stage, you're a master of your life. And this is something that, unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of people have no control over, which means there's constant reaction in their lives. Now, I'm not going to say that I have that. This is something that I'm working to perfect within me. Yes, there are times when I do react. With that being said, because of my constant practice of this, it makes it a lot easier to make that shift when I find myself in that reactive mode so that I'm not responding. And you can do that for yourself as well. Now, here I want to also emphasize this too, that the fourth or the fifth word, I should say, in this sentence, exercises, is what? It's practice, it's application. See, it's through exercise, through practice, through application that you're strengthened. This is why I'm constantly reminding you that, okay, this knowledge, oh, it's not power. Remember, knowledge is mere static energy, it's passive energy. Even the things that I'm saying to you, it's static, it's passive. It is no power in itself, but it will have power if you engage with what I'm sharing with you and you use it in your life. See, that's what's called exercise. See, that is what will help you to make the change. The practical exercise that I'll remind you of is thinking of equipment in a gym. Remember, you can look at the equipment, see it, and know all the information about what it can do, but until you go to the gym and you pick up the equipment or use the equipment and allow the resistance to happen so that you can tear your muscles so that they can build. See, when you do that, that's when the change happens. And it's the same